to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Get in Shape Pop, and I will also be using this as a Baby Got Scraps hop, and I will talk about that in just a moment. So what I have for you here is some Hip Kit Club product, and I have a photo of my beautiful daughter and some other bits and pieces. Today's shape is going to be chevrons. And I thought it was kind of cool that I had this piece of pattern paper. I can fussy cut out these little chevrons and use those. I'm going to use this for my background. Maybe. I may end up cutting it down and using only part of it and using a piece of white cardstock. I have these two pieces of pattern paper, my photo, and I've got everything I think I need here, including title pieces for this layout. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and start fussy cutting. I will be right back. So I went off camera and decided that the pink background paper wasn't what I wanted to do. And so instead I just set that aside for another layout, and I pulled out a piece of white cardstock and my watercolor paints, and I'm going to create a mixed media background for this layout. So what I was doing right there is I was mixing the darker and the medium pink together to make a shade in between. And I am adding the ink or the watercolor onto the background with a piece of packaging, using my sprayer to make the watercolor more runny. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my paintbrush, and I'm going to tap some splatters in that darker color on the top, and that background is going to be complete. All right, off camera, I allowed my background paper to dry for about 24 hours, and it probably didn't really need that much time, but that's the time it got given because we went out of town that day, and so now I am building the rest of my layout. So I took that chevron piece of paper and I cut out on one side, I used the navy blue chevrons, and then I just flipped over the in-between pieces and used the pink side to kind of create a background with a little bit of visual texture. So the navy blue pieces, when I cut those out, I made sure that I left all of those white lines because it looks very much like stitching. And yes, yours truly actually thought about stitching on them anyway, but I didn't. I just left it. And then because I had the in-between pieces, they didn't have the white lines. That's why I flipped those over and used the pink side. I like the visual interest that this gives you. And I'm just kind of putting them up and down to give you some visual movement as well on my background. I adhered the photo with some fun foam. You can see it there as I flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and glue it down to the background. You'll notice that I did not use a lot of ATG adhesive on those strips yet. I wasn't sure if I was going to go ahead and do any tucking underneath those, and I wanted to leave myself plenty of space to do that if I decided to do that. In the end, that is not what I ended up doing. So I pulled out some of the wood grain pieces, and you can see that I'm using that wood grain scalloped border to actually anchor my journaling block, which came from the ephemera pack. Those dark blue and teal pieces that I'm tucking behind flowers right now, those were fussy cut out of the other piece of patterned paper. And I was very careful how I cut those because on the other side is a beautiful light blue pattern with floral pieces that I wanted to fussy cut at some point as well. So I cut off like 3 or 4 of those leafy bits from the side, leaving the center intact so that I could go ahead and save that for another layout at another time. So this photo is of my daughter holding her birthday cake. It was her 19th birthday. I am titling this layout December Party. We had not lived in Clarksville very long at this point, just a couple of months. We didn't know a lot of people, so her party just became a family party. That happens a lot with us when we move. We don't know anybody, and we're pretty careful about who we invite in our home to begin with. So since we hadn't really made any friends and didn't really know any of the neighbors yet, we just had a family party. And I think at 19 she was cool with that. So the other thing I'm pulling off of that wood grain chipboard set are a few hearts. I really, really love that chipboard set, and I'm having a really hard time using it up, and I shouldn't, because I have enough product that I could scrapbook my photos, your photos, probably everybody's photos. Anyway, so I am just kind of pulling things around and making sure that things fit where I want them to, and then I'm gonna add some more bits and pieces. I'm still playing with those leafy bits. I decided to layer up a couple of them, and that is what we're doing. So for the most part here, I am basically done with this layout. That little piece that you see me tucking right there does end up down by the title at the bottom, and I move out the little black and white floral bit that I put there instead. I decided that I needed that third piece of navy blue leafy bits down there just to make kind of a visual triangle. All right, I finished my layout. I did use foam adhesive under my flowers in my embellishment clusters. I wrote down my journaling and made sure I glued down with the wet glue a few other things that weren't staying. As you saw when I built the background, I only put a little bit of ATG just to get it to lay down, and then I went under off camera and I used my Scotch tacky glue to finish that off. I also brought in some of these little pieces. The centers of these puffy buttons, when left on the backing, look a lot like enamel dots, so I went ahead and used some of those in my embellishment clusters to finish it off. Why not use all the product that you have? And that helps get it all used up. I do want to thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, please hit that button below, and if you click that bell, YouTube will notify you when I put out new content. I try to get 2 to 3 videos on my channel each week, and I just want to thank you for being here, and you guys have a great Sunday.